As the 2018 session of the United Nations General Assembly gets underway, some of the biggest global problems remain big. The war in Yemen, chaos in Libya, the civil war in Syria. But there are signs of hope.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
A year ago, the US and the DPRK looked like they could be headed for war. Now the talk is of peace.
This time, unlike last year and the famous fire and fury, what we'll see is President Trump will talk about the great steps forward that we've made with North Korea.
Meanwhile, however, the Iran nuclear deal is under serious strain after a unilateral pullout by Washington. US President Donald Trump is expected to use his speech at the UN and at a Security Council meeting he is chairing to press US allies to abandon it too. But on other issues, the United Nations continues to be indispensable. The fight to tackle climate change continues. UN members will come together to end tuberculosis, back free trade, multilateralism, and continue to support fragile peacekeeping operations around the world.
For each major issue that the UN either can't do anything about, or in some cases bungles, there are the sort of low-level, constant sort of international regulatory things and smaller things that go under the radar that I think it does very well.
But this year, expect criticism of big powers too, especially Washington's withdrawal of funding for Palestinians, its recent attacks on the International Criminal Court, and its continued opposition to the Climate Change Accord. And while the US is seen to be stepping back from global governance, others are stepping up.
It looks like the United States is pulling back, but I don't think that is actually what's happening. What's happening is the emergence of new players that are blocking the United States from determining the rules of the global game by itself exclusively. That's the big change.
So while the headlines from New York will likely be about US President Donald Trump and what he says about pressing global concerns and world leaders, the United Nations will be embracing a much broader agenda at the UN General Assembly 2018, an agenda that extends far beyond the United States and the latest presidential tweet. Nathan King, CGTN, Washington.